All right. I think you can hear me. Can you hear me? All right, that'll work. It is August the 20th, and we are live with the Police Softball Podcast coming to you today from Texarkana. That's right, I'm on the road. Just got done dropping off my little girl at college. And so hopefully I don't get too emotional or emotional at all during this show, but I might. So I'm just giving you a little bit of a heads up. Want to thank everybody for being here. And I want to get straight to it because we've got a great recap today of the Anne Arundel. And that's, I think, the third time I've said it properly. The Anne Arundel Tournament that we're going to be highlighting along with a special guest that I'm really excited to have. This guy is a long haul bomber. Long haul bomber, that's right. Dude, I'm happy I got that one right. I'm on a roll. So, hey, we're going to do, just let you know who I am real quickly. My name is Trinidad. I am a U.S. Air Force veteran, 23 years in law enforcement, just recently retired. Happy about that. I am a two-time cancer survivor, a franchised business owner, and I am a nonprofit founder. That's an organization called Shields for Kids. It's an organization that goes out with a bunch of officers from all types of agencies. We go out and provide for kids in the community that are in need. The one thing that makes us a little different is that we are out there on our own time and on our own dime to be able to provide these great gives for these children that are in need. So that's a little bit about who I am. But as far as the police softball world, I am the coach of the San Antonio Law men's competitive softball team. We've won a couple of titles, a couple of national titles. A Chevy Wright Sportsman of the Year, Pat Hill Inspiration Award winner, and the Texas Police Athletic Foundation and PS.com Hall of Fame inductee. So I'm really proud of those things, and I'm proud of our circuit. That's why we have this show, and I am excited to be able to bring to you a conference. Real quickly, we're going to make this announcement of the International Keepers of the Peace First Responders Conference. It's April the 12th through the 14th in 2021 in San Antonio, Texas. It's for retired and active duty police, fire, military, and EMTs. I want you to know that we have a badass conference with badass breakout sessions for all of these first responders. And we definitely need it at this time. We are going to have some really cool in-hotel breakout sessions that's going to highlight all types of things that are unique to first responders when it comes to helping them deal with helping them to think of a way outside of their own way of thinking to be able to handle the challenges that come along with not only being a first responder and the things that go with that, but also just in your everyday life. And so we're talking about finances, investments. We're talking about addiction. There are people that suffer with addiction. It's just a ton of different types of sessions that you go to this conference, you're going to get some great information on. And it's not just to help you as a first responder, it's also for those within our first responder community that you might be able to help by some of this information that you gather. So it's very important to be able to attend this conference. I promise to you, when you go to this conference, you will not leave the same way you walked in. I made a guarantee on my last show, and I will tell you, if you don't get the value out of this conference, I will give you your money back. No questions asked. You don't have to sweat it. So make sure you look up keepersofthepeace.com. One of the things I will tell you is we have outside of the hotel breakout sessions that are going to be taking place. One of those is, for instance, a jiu-jitsu seminar. And we're right now, Royce Gracie, MMA legend, has agreed to come out and to host this seminar. He just is waiting to make sure his Bellator contract won't interfere. So as soon as we get confirmation on that, we'll let you know. We also have a breakout session, for example, of workout and shoot with the SAPD SWAT competition team. So we're excited about that. And we've also got a really neat run that we're going to be putting on. It's a themed run. And we'll get more into that later, but it's a really special event that we've got going on. So on that note, I want to be able to introduce my partner in crime, my co-host, Mr. Joe Monahan.
Trini, how you doing?
What's going on, brother?
I'm pretty good.
All right, man. What you got?
I was going to ask you. So, watching your introduction there, you're talking about the Shields for Kids. Has this COVID affected any like your events or anything like that you've had or planned or anything like that?
Absolutely. Of course, not wanting to get the children, caught up in any of this COVID that's going on. We have been extremely limited, but we have things that we've been giving virtually. So we've invited the kids to, when they go through the drive-through of like Dunkin' Donuts, and we load up a card, and as long as they mention our Keepers or Shields for Kids organization, they can go out and grab some donuts just to get out of the house. We've got events that are still coming up that we've got in the works that we're going to be doing virtually, along with some giveaways. So those are some of the things that we're doing, but we're hoping it lifts soon, because that interaction amongst police officers and the children is just so important.
Yeah.
And so, there's Iker, little boy that had cancer. We were able to go to the hospital and help him. It was really cool, man, Joe, on that note with Iker. He goes to a lot of treatments, and it was really neat to be able to give him these virtual goggles that allow him to be able to escape his reality of these treatments and to be able to go into a virtual reality that would hopefully take away, some of his thoughts of having to go through the treatments and all. So it was an Oculus that we're able to get him. So it's cool things like that we're able to do. But I appreciate you asking, and can't wait to get back on the, back in.
Like I told you before, I'm coming down for a couple of those events that you guys put on. I'll be down there for sure. I don't know what you just got to keep me updated. Let me know when they're happening.
Yeah, man. Our Signing Santa event, I'm hoping that by Christmas that'll happen, because we provide a signing Santa for children who are hard of hearing or deaf, who have sometimes never been able to talk to or never been able to communicate with a Santa Claus before. So we have a signing Santa, and man, it's such an impactful event. If we are able to do it, I'd love for you to come down and be there for that event.
For sure, man.
Cool. All right, man. Well, hey, we're going to get to the Anne Arundel Tournament. That happened over the weekend, I believe, right, Jim?
Yep, just this past weekend.
Yeah, man. So we were going to have Jim Smith, who was a coach of one of the championship teams, or I think the championship, right?
Yeah, they won it. Yep.
Yeah. He wasn't able to make it. That's okay. Joe was there with his team, the Missouri Lawmen. He's going to be able to fill us in. So really quickly, I believe we have a few highlights. So, hey, let's go ahead and run these highlights, and then you can give us a little talk about the tournament. Man, those fields look like they had a little bit of moisture on them.
There was a lot of bit of moisture on them. We're lucky we got that tournament in, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was supposed to rain all weekend. It rained all week leading up to the weekend. Saturday it cleared up. It was delayed till this is almost identical to St. Louis's situation 2 weeks prior, where it rained all the way till Saturday morning. We delayed the start, pushed everything back, and tried to get everything in on Saturday. And we did get everything in on Saturday, or I should say, Steve, Scott, and Ron got everything in on Saturday. And Sunday it rained probably up until about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, all day long, basically. So it was a good thing we got them all in. That being said, it was, the fact that we were able to get on the field, they weren't the best, but considering everything, it was awesome that we were able to get out there and play. The infield was really soft. The dirt was thick, soft, and fields were 300, and the fences were about 10 foot. I think 8 to 10 foot, whatever. But that ball was absolutely flying out of the park up there. The bats we were using the Easton Fireflexes up there. Those were the provided bats, and those things were hot as hell. And it ended up being a great day. One thing I was upset about is we actually played the Hounds in the pool play, one of our 3 pool play games, and leading into the double elimination bracket. So we're playing the New York team, and I don't know if you've seen our new jerseys, but I'm a Mets fan, and they are almost identical to the Mets jerseys. I designed them off of that, and turns out that New York's playing a team that's got the Mets jerseys, and Doc Gooden's there, so he's there. I got no clue he's there, and Jimmy from the Hounds, Jimmy Walters, doesn't tell me that he's there until like a game and a half later after he's already left. So I would have, I'd like to go on over, shake his hand, and get a picture taken with him. I met Doc when I was a kid, and I actually have that picture on my phone right now. I'd have shown that, had a little conversation with him, talk to him about it. But anyway, so I got screwed out of meeting Doc Gooden, but that morning. But
from what I understand, you didn't get screwed out of eating seafood and drinking Tito's all day on Sunday.
Well, that's what happens when you're planning for a 2-day tournament, and then everything gets crammed into one day, and then it rains all day Sunday. There's nothing else to do besides eat and drink. So that's what we did all day Sunday. So we went around town, and we hit a bunch of good seafood spots and nice little hole in the wall bars and stuff like that.
Yeah,
we went to that. What's that? Claddagh Pub. Yeah, that's in I think it's the Canton neighborhood, which is like an old historical neighborhood. It's like 100-something years old. All the buildings are little shotgun houses, and it's about 2 miles outside of downtown. It's right on the waterfront. It's a real nice area, really cool area. If you've been to St. Louis, it's kind of similar to Soulard, but I think it's a little nicer.
Yeah.
But getting back to the actual tournament itself, Thin Blue Line, man, they were legit, and they came out mashing the ball, and we got lucky against them in pool play. I think we were the only team to beat them all weekend.
Yeah.
And we beat them by I think it was a 1-run game, and we had the hammer in that game, and we got lucky that we did. Otherwise, they probably would have beat us, walked us off the field. But they played great all the way around, defensively, offensively, and it's telling when you beat teams like Mid-Atlantic and Max Elite, the Jersey boys, and the Hounds. And
what was the team list, Joe? What was the team list that was out there? Do you have it?
Yeah, there was Thin Blue Line, the Hounds, Mid-Atlantic, Maryland Outlaws, Max Elite, which is the old Shamrocks Jersey team. You had us, Missouri out there, Metro Detroit, Necessary Force, another team out of New York. And then there was several local teams as well that were there playing. There was one, Howard County, I believe it was, which is a local team there in Baltimore. They were actually very solid team for a single department team.
Yeah.
But it was a good time, and like I said, Hounds crushed us. They had a great showing as usual. Mid-Atlantic, I posted on the website to Terry, but seems like every tournament that our 2 teams are in, Mid-Atlantic and Missouri, we never face off against each other. I don't know why that is. We just always avoid each other in the brackets and the pool play and everything. And hopefully one of these days we'll get back on the field against each other. We played each other in Vegas, I think, a few years back, but it's few and far between. I see them at all the tournaments, and we never play each other. So
tell you what I'll do is if you come down to the Texas Showdown there in Bernie, you come down to the Texas Showdown, I'm going to get a waiver, ask everybody to waiver, and you guys are going to be on the main field, and we'll put you guys together. How about that?
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, that'll work.
The pool play.
Well, I'll tell you what, that sounds like a heck of a competitive tournament, man. That's a lot of top teams in there.
There was.
And we've been highlighting these tournaments here recently that had those top tier teams showing up. So it's great prep for the World Series, to be able to see these teams. And it really helps you because you're not shell shocked when you get there in Vegas. In the very beginning, when especially we don't have the money to travel, we get to Vegas. It's some of the first times we see these guys, man, and it takes a little time to settle in. Whereas if you go to these tournaments and you play these bigger teams, man, it's just another day,
Yeah.
So I shouldn't say just another day, but at least it's it's not, you're not starstruck. Because
Yeah.
like I see guys like you up on the mound and you stare at me with those eyes. If you're not wearing a hat, then the sun's reflecting off the head, and it just takes a couple of innings to adjust, and it can throw a team off. So it's good that I'm able to see you before Vegas.
I'm like a stormtrooper now. I got the white shin guards and the white helmet. So
Hey, no shame in that, dude. No shame at all in that. Especially if you got some shots that come back with these hot bats like the DeMarini bats. Just saying. Got a bat we're going to be highlighting today. So, you should wear shin guards.
those DeMarini Nautalai bats in St. Louis were probably, I'd say, the hit of the tournament. Those things were on fire, man. It seems to be the trend with that brand that they just the last couple of years, man, they just have knocked it out of the park with their bat lines.
Did you knock any out of the park, Joe?
I did knock some out of the park. There was actually the game against Thin Blue Line. I hit 3 of them out of the park.
What? Let's throw his banner up there real quick. Let's throw his banner up there real quick because I forgot about his banner. So Joe is the coach of the Missouri Lawmen. He's a director of the Show Me Classic. He's the coach of the Louisville Slugger Masters Division coach. He's that coach. He's the East Conference Manager of the Year, and is the Texas Showdown Home Run Derby champ. And now, 3-time home run hitter at the Anne Arundel Tournament. We're going to add that to we're just going to keep adding to your banner, bro.
Let's leave that off. Because you didn't let me finish my story.
Oh, okay, my bad. Go ahead.
So it was the Thin Blue Line game. We're playing in the pool play, and I hit 3 of them out. 2 of them were HROs. So two of them counted as outs. So the first one.
Where are my show notes? I should have known that before we did the show.
If you'd have let me finish, you wouldn't have gotten all that stuff. It built me up, and then I had to shut it down. But the second 2, they were, like I said, the ball was flying out of these fields, and it was 2 line drive opposite field home runs. They just sailed. Once they got up in the jet stream, they sailed over the fence. Yeah. We had several HROs. There was a lot of HROs in this tournament. So, it was the ball was flying. I don't know what to say. So,
well, they count in my book, bro.
They don't count in my book. I know
you're my buddy.
I know your book. Your book is the little scrap piece of paper in your pocket. I actually got a scorebook, and they look like outs in my book.
I never kept a book, man. I always played. It's not my fault. I write in paragraph form. Joe, home run for an out, and then that's how it goes. It's just the way it is. So don't ask me to keep the book, right? All right, so let's see here. Shane, what's going on, Shane? Shane was in those highlights. Shane said that we met Ellen near the square, didn't we, Joe?
That we did.
I don't know. I don't want to know.
He nicknamed Brendan Ellen because of his wardrobe attire. The attire he chose to wear out around Baltimore on Sunday. I don't know. I don't want to get into it.
Let's see here. Brendan says, Trini just set you up. Hey, well, let's show a few pictures that we got from the tournament. I know we showed a little video earlier, but let's just highlight these pictures real quickly. No, not his banner. We're going to have to update his banner soon. We'll show it next time when we update it. All right.
That's Thin Blue Line right there. That was, I think they were getting ready to play Maximum Elite right there.
My goodness, look at that dude right in the middle, closest to us.
Hey.
Holy smokes, that's approaching Denny Crine status right there, man.
Line has a bunch of giants on their team. They have some big boys, man. I mean, there's some big guys on that team.
I like the trophy, man. That the plaque I think that's really unique. We highlighted that earlier in the show, and so I think that's a really neat, award to be placed. It's all the winners, correct?
Yep. So, well, it's no, that's not all the winners. What that is this tournament's been going on now. I think this was a 39th.
Oh, that's right.
What that is that's all the patches from the teams that are participating in.
That's right. Yep, got it.
And that's the Metro Detroit right there. They were the winner of the lower bracket. I'm not sure. I can't remember who they played in the championship game, but they came out on top. They gave us a run. I remember back in Cincinnati. Last time we played in Cincinnati, I think 3-4 years ago, they beat us pretty good. That's a pretty solid team right there.
Yeah.
Bunch of good veterans on that team.
Cool. I think is that all we got? I think that's all we got, is some pictures, right? Yeah. So Joe, I appreciate you taking the pictures and some of those video highlights from the tournament. Thank you for that, because without that, we'd just be talking about it. So yeah, man. Well, what place did you guys take?
We tied for 5th with Maximum Elite.
Okay.
We just we had some good games, and we had some games where we just we handed some innings to the other team where we gave them 5-6 outs, and you do that against this quality of team or teams that were up there. You're not going to win the game.
Yeah. Well, you know how it goes, man. You start getting into those upper teams, and it doesn't take much to be able to give up that slight advantage that it takes, especially if they've got the hammer at the end. So
Yep.
So yeah, man. But I know that with the teams that are there, now it's a great competition. I know that everybody talks about that tournament. It's been around forever. So hopefully we'll get a chance to get up there and participate one of these years.
Definitely.
So yeah, man. All right. Well, hey, that was the Anne Arundel tournament. And Joe, I think at this point we're going to go ahead and move on to our special guest. And he's not just special because of his ability in softball, but I'm finding out as I've done the research on this man, Denny Crine, he's really an ambassador of the sport. He supports us here in law enforcement. He is a member of the DeMarini squad right now. He's a proud supporter of police softball, factory player for DeMarini, 4-time long haul bomber champion, and my favorite part, he is a middle school teacher. That dude right there. I bet you they send any kids that they have any issues with, they just probably send them to his room. And after the kids have visited once, they probably don't want to. I bet you they got the best behaved school around with that dude. But hey, before we get into that, let's show this video real quickly. If you don't know what the long haul bombers are all about, you're about to see it.
They are the best of the best, the greatest slow-pitch softball hitters in the game. The Long Haul Bombers, powered by Home Run Monkey. Teams traveling to Major League ballparks for a one-of-a-kind home run derby. Each bomber gets 15 swings and is awarded 1 point for each home run. The last pitch is the money ball that is worth 2 points. Stepping up is the legendary Brett Helmer. Legendary because of his 4 national batting titles. Number 44 is number 1 for many softball fans. Brett's nickname is Large, and he's in charge, packing plenty of pride into what he does. And what he did today was blast 9 homers for 9 points to take the lead in Tampa.
It's totally consistent. If you can hit 8 to 10 every time, you are in the finals.
Only one player stands in Helmer's path today. That's 2-time Stadium Power Tour champ Denny Crine. DC makes it look oh so easy. With an almost effortless attack. Crine started slow, but then he started to build. It's fun to watch the classic Crine swing, and once DC gets loose, look out below. Now Denny's definitely found his groove. One after another, Crine is on a roll. DC tops Helmer and ends the day with 11 homers and the money ball for 12 big points. There's no stopping the big man and his simple, steady approach to the game.
I got to hit the most in the end, and that's what it comes down to every year. There's no other way to look at it. Just you got to hit more than the other guys.
I think we had Mr. Denny Crine's brother on that show because that dude didn't have the gray going on. That dude was freaking. I don't know. Is that your younger brother, Denny, or what? Who was that?
It's been a while. It's been a while. It's yeah.
He's still hitting like that though.
Yeah, the gray's been coming on, but I miss those days. You know, the Bomber Tour was a great time, and you know, traveling around these different parks and the camaraderie you got, and you know, I would have loved to got out there and represent DeMarini on the Bomber Tour, and you know, maybe someday we'll do some minor league appearances, something like that again. But you know, it kind of sucks that we no longer do that. So, but it was fun while it lasted. So I guess everything's got to come to an end eventually. So,
but you know, with that all being said, because I didn't know they didn't do it anymore. It's neat to be able to bring awareness to the sport because people will hear softball, I believe, and a lot of times they'll think like Sunday afternoon church league.
yeah.
I mean, you know, these dudes are trying to, you know, relive some memories or whatever, and then you see dudes, you know, coming up there and launching them.
Yeah.
Man, I think it makes people take a second look, like, hey, what's this about? You know?
Yeah, it definitely was a great stage to promote the game, you know, and it's just hard to. It takes a little bit of money from the manufacturers, and it's hard to kind of quantify it to put a price value on it, you know, as far as there's no hard data that says this is worth spending the money. So,
yeah,
you know, it's kind of you know, I think we all felt that it did a great job promoting the game, but in the end, it comes down to numbers. So,
yeah.
How many years did that go on for?
I did it for 10 years, and it was probably going on for another maybe 6 to 8 years before that. So it went on for a while. I think the first time that we did anything like that was 2002. They hit in the Metrodome. And that was, you know, at that time it was, you know, they hit from the on-deck circle because you couldn't mess up the box and that. And then it evolved into a great show, you know, and, you know, it was a great time. Fans loved it.
It looked like good.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey, Denny, so let's start this off with these guys that, you know, we've been around softball for a long time. The guys that are in the circuit usually have played civilian ball before and then become policemen and then end up, you know, playing police softball. Do me a favor, man, just kind of run down, you know, Denny Crine. I mean, besides the softball kind of thing, I mean, we mentioned earlier that you are a middle school teacher. And one of the things I'll tell you is, like I told you before, whenever I go out and I give speeches, whether it be for Special Olympics, Shields for Kids, or just a work type of a situation, I will absolutely give respect and appreciation to all of our first responders, military, police, fire, and all. But I do make a side note when it comes to our teachers, because our teachers do something that I know in you know, my tour in the military and also as a policeman, I couldn't do. I give you guys tons of credit, and I really appreciate what you guys do day in and day out. I don't think you get enough attention. I definitely don't think you get paid enough. So I understand having to work on going and hitting long balls in professional sports arenas. But no, I think that when you're in it, this is one of those jobs that if you stay in it longer than 5 years, you do realize it's your calling. Like in law enforcement, there's a lot of dudes that are in it for 5 to 8 years, they're out, you know, and you've been in it for 20 plus years?
Yeah, 23 years. This will be my 23rd year that I'm starting right now. So it's, you know, after, you know, 5, 8 years, you kind of get on cruise control where you understand how the process works. You know, you understand there's going to be some good kids, some bad kids. But this year is definitely going to be a test because, you know, we pushed school back 2 weeks, and that's so we could train on how to teach online. And, So I've been sitting in front of the computer for probably 10, 12 hours a day for the last 2 weeks, trying to figure out, the process to teaching. So we're entering a whole new realm this year, and hopefully it's not for very long. Hopefully we're back in school where we can interact and have that FaceTime with kids. But from a teaching standpoint, I love it. I've taught middle school my whole career, kind of go back and forth between health and PE. So to me, I go to work and I get to deal with stuff that I'm interested in every day. It's fun to, I don't think being a PE teacher, I don't think you can get any better than that. I get to wear shorts to school every day. I'm out there, trying to, and I'm not I don't believe in the, hey, let's roll out the ball, you guys go play basketball, kind of a recess attitude. I am very enthusiastic about teaching, sport. And obviously, when it comes to softball, I feel like I do very well in the promotion of the game because I enjoy talking about it and I enjoy the intricacies of the game, the how to be successful. I love talking about the swing. I coach baseball, so I talk about all those aspects as far as, how they transfer between baseball and softball. And so it's been a good career choice for myself, and having summers off also helps because then I can go travel around and play softball. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's awesome to be able to shape, that you had a hand in shaping these children's lives, and having a hand in being able to teach them about not giving up. You can be down, but let's not give it in. Let's not give in. Let's go. Let's keep pushing, and it's neat to be able to, to have a part in the shaping of these children's life. I feel like that's what we get to do in Shields for Kids. And of course, as officers, when we get to interact with these children at that age, especially that age, you're able to put an impression or give them an impression that can last a lifetime. And so I think it's awesome to be able to have that opportunity to impact these children.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt, Denny, that with your size, it's an intimidating thing for these kids to where maybe you have an angle because you have the size, but yet you have such a soft tone. You have a gentle heart. You can tell that. I've seen interviews from like 13, 14 years ago. And in fact, we're going to go into an interview real quick just to give people an idea of this isn't just the Denny of today that you're seeing as an interview on this show. Check this out from a while ago.
What is your hitting technique?
I just try to stay balanced and create as much torque as I can when making contact.
So,
that was my first year on the Bomber Tour, my first interview that I had to do from a softball side of it. I'd done some stuff with baseball in the past, but that was day one of Long Haul Bombers, and it was my terminology, my swing, the way I look at my swing, the way I talk about my swing is a little bit different now. I've kind of evolved in that,
But here's the point I want to make, though, Denny. Here's the point I want to make. Check out this next clip.
What's the most important thing in your hitting technique?
Trying to stay balanced and creating the torque, and that way I can get as much power as possible out of my body.
Okay. So he's being nice, and he just, repeated what he said before, but, trying to still make it entertaining for the young lady. That's cool. But you can see that you kind of like a little bit of a smile, right? You see that gentle giant kind of coming through. Now check this next clip out.
Where's most of your power coming from?
From my core, from my, midsection, legs. That's where, the upper body for me is not very important. I'm trying to get everything from the core and lower body.
The upper body is not very important to me. They edited out the part I'm 6'7", pushing 300 pounds. So I don't know if you noticed, but I'm trying to widen my shoulders and just to kind of look somewhat comparable to you. Look at this. I was telling Denny, I said, this is in 2016 when we were able to, we were fortunate enough to win the PS.com Gold Division Championship, and Denny was there. And I was telling him in San Antonio, Joe, like I've told you before, San Antonio, I'm an all right sized dude. In fact, let's show the one of Jay. Jay's our tallest guy on our team. And let's see, there's Jay. He's our tallest guy on our team. And there's Jay with a picture of Michelada, and that was for himself. He did not share that, just so you know. But that just shows you right there, man. I mean, yeah, I understand not having to worry about the upper body. I'm kidding, though. I know it's a
I got
technique.
the leverage in there, so it's I don't have to worry about that too much.
So we have another clip coming up that I want to be able to highlight something about it. So let's show that one.
What's your most memorable hit in your entire softball career?
I don't think I had a bunch of moments in softball that I've enjoyed, and being around people more than, I guess it's the moments of camaraderie with teammates rather than just one in particular thing that I've done as far as from a hitting or defensive standpoint.
Now on that note, the reason that I like that was because, we all, by that point, you've hit tons of long balls, tons of, memorable moments in softball. Yet, I noticed that in the interviews that I checked out, man, you have a hard time talking about yourself. You like talking about the team. You like talking about the camaraderie. And it was something that I believe we're aligned in with police softball. That's a huge part of why a lot of us won't go back and play civilian ball. Not that there's anything wrong with civilian ball. We still play it, but I'm talking about preference-wise, man, that camaraderie, that not putting yourself above the team. Usually on law enforcement teams, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, but like on most law enforcement teams, most people get it. Unless you're a new cat, you just got on a department, maybe you're coming from the civilian world and you were the bomb, if you will. When you come to a team like this, it'll be made very clearly, very quickly that this is for the betterment of the team, man. This is, no different than when we're out there on the streets. We're taking care of each other and we're thinking about the whole and not just the individual. And that's what I saw as a consistency with you. And I believe it's on this next comment, on this next video. So we'll go to that and then we'll talk to you a little bit about it.
What's your longest hit of all
I
time?
have no idea.
Estimate.
Somewhere over 400.
Really?
Somewhere past that. But once it goes over the fence, it's hard to tell how far it goes.
So Denny, if we were to ask you that question today, how far long is most hit?
Listen, you guys are taking like raw first time being interviewed. Like that was. I cleaned up my interview skills over the next 10 years, so it was an interesting day that day. So,
but you still had the opportunity to brag on yourself, and I just, I mean, when I say brag, I mean it can be, it's not hard, because Joe, every time we get together, he'll tell me about his last outing, his last, how long that last home run for an out went. He'll tell me things like that because we're cool like that. But I couldn't find an interview with you on that.
Long haul bombers is a little different because you are a team. There's you and another guy, but mostly it's an individual thing, and that's totally different than anything you do. I'm not an individual sport guy. I'm a team sport guy. I grew up playing baseball. I grew up playing basketball. And then you go and you're playing softball, and now all of a sudden it's all about you. And when you do interviews, it's not about the team. It's, hey, tell me about yourself, and you got to learn how to kind of phrase things to where you're not sounding, arrogant and come off where you're unapproachable. So, it took a while to figure out how to answer those questions, politically, and not try to rub people the wrong way. And, and I think now when I answer questions like that, it's not necessarily distance. Like, I can't believe how far I hit this one, but more like reactions that you get out of people. Like, we'd hit in San Diego every year. Some years we were lucky enough to hit down there twice. And to me, that was a favorite. Petco Park was my favorite place to go hit. Number one, San Diego's a beautiful place to go. The weather's always nice and things. But, the first time I went down there, I can't remember, it might have been Brett or Jeff, said, no matter what you do today, if you hit one home run, make sure you hit it on top of the Western Metals building. And I'm like, why? He's like, just that's your goal today. If you're going to hit one, hit it up on top of there. And so the first time out there, hit about 3-4 balls, got loose, and then hit one up there, and the fans just go crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not even the farthest home run you could hit there. I mean, some of the guys that we've hit with have hit the scoreboard, and the scoreboard, if you go stand on top of the Western Metals building, you're actually looking back away from the field at the scoreboard because it's a lot farther. It's just the fans don't ever see baseballs go up there, so they get they just go crazy over it. So
They get to keep the balls, right? When did you all hit out?
yeah, yep.
That's cool, man. That's cool. That's a cool treat for all the kids, man.
Yeah.
That's a really neat thing.
It's a little scary because obviously the ball, we're there to put on a show, so the balls we use were very hard. And people still associate us, the label of a softball with it being soft. And so you get the people out there barehanded trying to catch balls, and every time they're shaking their hand. And, we've had a few instances where some people have broken their hands, but.
Ugh. Hey, well, we got, just real quickly, we're going to chime in on, let's see. Jeff Blair says, Denny Crine, kettlebell swing expert, 52-pound kettlebell times 10,000 swings.
Well, I'm not going to qualify myself as an expert. I definitely not an expert. I train with a guy who is an expert, so that's where all my knowledge comes from. But it's a I just every once in a while I'll do a challenge where you do 10,000 swings over a month. So it's kind of a more of a mental thing than a physical thing, although it absolutely kills you physically, but mentally getting up every day knowing you got to do 500 swings is tough. So
that's some David Goggins stuff right there, man. So Jeff Blair says, Denny, how long is your farthest home run? I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Yeah. It's definitely not at the Police World Series. Sometimes the pitching's a little rough in our exhibitions, but no, I have a great time going out. It's been a few years, but going out and hitting with Brett or one of the other guys I have a great time doing that, and it's fun to get out there. So.
Nate says,
speaking of the Police World Series, you've been there several times, obviously. Your thoughts, you got any thoughts on, the competitiveness of the police circuit versus civilian circuit?
No, I mean, a lot of the guys, like, my teammate just popped on there. I play with a lot of guys that play in the police circuit, and, it's there's no drop off between, obviously the upper, the conference in softball, you have the best players in the world. But from a competitive level, there's no, your top teams are going to compete with a lot of the top teams in the country. So
and the reason I asked that is kind of lead into this next question is, so there's been talk of, the military gets a berth in the, I don't know if it's a top military team or a combo or whatever it is. Military gets
whoever wins the military World Series gets a berth to the USSSA World Series.
Correct. So, and I believe the military opted out this year of that berth. But the reason I was asked that question, what are your thoughts? Do you think that as far as the police getting maybe a berth in that conference worlds down in Florida?
I mean, I think it would be two things. I think it would be awesome for you guys to kind of to get that kind of as a, we're not just, here doing silly things. We're actually here competing, and then, the prestige that goes along with it. And then guys are going to step up their game. If you got an opportunity to go and win something, which means you're competing against the best of the best, then that's going to make everybody in the whole tournament step up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I just thought, there's been talk about it over the last several months between guys on the police circuit, about the thought of something like that happening maybe in the future. And just curious your thoughts on that. That's all.
Yeah, I think that would be, I think that would be awesome.
You know what I like about that, Joe, is that we'll go out and we'll play under, especially at local tournaments, we'll go under like a different name. Sometimes Shields for Kids, sometimes Biotechs, things of that sort. And it's cool, man, because somewhere along the tournament, they're like, dude, where'd you guys come from? Like, who are you guys, because they don't recognize the name. And they're like, man, these guys are, and here and there we'll share it with them. And when they do find out, here and there, they're like, damn, y'all are a bunch of cops. Man, y'all can play some ball, So I think it'd be kind of neat to show the, the U-Trip teams like, hey, man, these guys can come out and play and represent. I think it's pretty neat. Because, again, back to that Sunday softball kind of thing, I think that they maybe don't realize, that we can be as competitive as we can. And I try to tell people about the World Series, like, you just got to see it, man. It's a whole different level.
And I think we've talked about this on previous episodes, but I think the Lockdown Sports team that Terry Dugan runs, which all police, it's from all guys from all over the country. And they've competed in Toys for Tots and a couple other, civilian tournaments. And I think they opened some eyes, in a couple of those tournaments. They played some really competitive games and beat some really good teams. And you look on the message boards and stuff like that, and you see comments about, these policemen can, they can play. It's good to see stuff like that.
Yeah, we've seen them, down at Toys for Tots every year, making a run through and competing with, it's obviously not the weekend's a little bit different, but you still have, 90% of the top players in the country are going down and playing, and some of them are full squad teams, and it's definitely not like they're walking through some rinky-dink tournament. It's competitive. It's, and they obviously compete very well down there. So
for sure. Yep.
Hey, so back to your teammate, we got Nate, who said DC 41 missed you in Utah. See you at the next one, teammate. Yeah, we're going to have Nate on the show also here soon.
We play 40s. And, usually we play here in Vegas, and then SoCal is a lot of our circuit, and obviously with the two places shut down. And so it's, and now they're waiting to see where the World Series is going to be at. So it'll be, I'm kind of in a bind right now. Team USA is supposed to play the same weekend as our World Series, and I'm an assistant coach with the Futures team. So, this year is just kind of, from a softball standpoint, it's just throwing everything into turmoil and have to make some tough decisions, whether it be family or playing or things like that. So it's
definitely been a screwed up year for sure, man.
Yeah, but I just like to push fast forward right now and let's get it over with. And
I'm with you.
Yeah, we're all really hoping that Vegas works out, for our World Series, and if not, then it, is a possibility of something else. But I mean, we don't know. But the World Series, Jeff Dell, that whole crew over there, they create such an awesome event for us. So everybody needs it, especially during this year with these times that we've gone through. Yeah. We really need it. We're hoping it'll work out. We're going to have Nate on along with Chad. So Chad says, hey, it's my teammate. Chad's an awesome dude, man. And we had him on the show. I'm not sure if it was the last show or not, but definitely going to have Chad back on. Yeah, it was right after St. Louis when we recapped it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Chad's in Vegas now. So, we don't see each other that often, but, I got two boys playing sports, and I don't like free time, so I tend to schedule myself every day. But yeah, Chad's here in Vegas now. We get to hit every once in a while, so it's good having Louisville side of the company here and covering the DeMarini side. So it's a good time now.
Yeah, man. Hey, Matthew Tidwell says Tyndall says, without a doubt, you could form two PS.com teams that could compete in the conference. It would be really fun to see. We've talked about that where, I was talking about putting a team together and going out and playing in one of these tournaments. and a few of them actually. But that is a good segue into the seniors division. Seniors, masters, old guys, whatever you want to call them. But in the end, I was invited this year after I expressed my interest for the first time. Joe, my partner in crime, invited me to play with his team in the Louisville team up in Vegas. But
Louisville Slugger team.
Louisville Slugger team, yeah.
I get the whole name in there.
Yeah, my bad.
Not to mention Matt Tyndall, who just made that comment, is joining us for the first time this year as well.
All right, man. We're gonna be teammates. That's what I'm talking about. Well, I'm excited, man, because I'm excited to get into this. And there is a bat now that Denny has. Like I bought a few bats in the past at the World Series with Denny's name on them, his signature series, and we've got one now. So that's come out. We're going to be talking about that, but let's show this video real quickly, and we'll highlight that bat, and then Denny, you can come on and talk about it. Hearing great things about it.
All right, so I just got my 2021 models in. Ran down here to the cages to get some swings on them. The way I break in bats is I usually use 52 300s, 52 275s. Which is what we have in the machine here at the cages, at Z Cages in Henderson. And so as soon as I get the new bats in the mail last night, I'm down here today. I'm gonna break those in. We have Toys for Tots this weekend, so I wanna make sure they are not stiff when we start hitting the hard ball. That's how we're gonna get the longevity out of the senior bats, which is something new for me this year. I've never swung a senior bat before. But obviously, if you're going to throw my name on it, I'm going to swing it. And I'm very proud that DeMarini put out a good product. And, you still have to care for it a little bit. They're hotter, which means they're going to break faster. So I have the 52s ready to go. And we'll see if we can get these bats broken in for the weekend. So this is my new model for 2021. Last weekend we debuted the Dale Brungart series. In essence, this is the same bat, just a little bit hotter. So we're going to go out this weekend at Toys and see how the performance is. Obviously last year's was incredible, which there should be no fall off this year at all. It's got a nice Endload 13-inch barrel. Got some new batting gloves and my new hat from A3, so we'll give it a run and see how it goes. Alright, so just finished up my round. Put swings on both bats today. Put about 100 swings, so 50 each. As you can see, I start with backside. That way I stay closed on everything. Then I'm working the middle. Definitely not trying to hit straight back through the middle. Obviously today I struggled with that a little bit, but trying to work both sides. That way, usually if I make contact with a pitcher, I'm out. So try to stay away from dead middle. Just depends on which side the 5-man's playing. And then I go to pull. Obviously in a home run situation, I don't necessarily always pull, but that's when I'm working back. When I'm working pull side, that's what I'm doing. So, and that's it as far as happy with the feel of the bats. Nice Endload. Can't be happier with the performance on it. Ball responds, even with these 52s, the ball's coming off it really well.
And that right there, Joe, is why you wear shin guards. Holy, that right there, that's why I pitched for like I think maybe a year, and I was out. Now I know, Denny, you don't go up. I know it's just practice, but oh God, man.
Yeah, that's
I need
definitely not where I want to.
I need to get some of the guys. Sorry, man. I need to get some of the guys on my team to watch that BP video of yours and your explanation at the end of it, because I got some young guys on the team just want to get out there and just, you know, beat the shit out of the ball and just try to knock it over the fence every time. And you try to, you know, get it in their heads, you know, this is BP, you know, and, you know, practice on a few things. And,
Yeah.
you know, I need to get them to watch that.
Yeah, you know, when I first started playing softball here in Vegas, you know, I was lucky enough to get around some guys that, you know, they were throwing cones out, you know, and trying to hit backside through the cones and stuff like that. So, you know, I learned early on that, you know, it kind of sucks because I came into the game, you know, my first year when I played with Long Haul in 2002 is when the unlimited home run tournaments were phasing out. I think we played 1 or 2 that year. Obviously the Smokies still is, but you know, we had to learn how to hit backside. We had to learn to base hit, and you learn early on if you weren't a guy that was going to adapt, then you weren't going to be around very long. And I played with a ton of guys early on in my career that they came in and they didn't know how to base hit. So when the home runs were gone, it was almost an automatic out, or they actually got subbed for. You know, this guy can't base hit, so he's down. This guy on the bench, you know, that's his job. He goes in and gets base hits. And I didn't want to be that guy. I wanted to be the team guy that worked backside, and I felt, you know, I got to a point where I felt more comfortable base hitting or knowing that I could base hit, and knowing that maybe there's a guy behind me that can't or isn't as comfortable base hitting. If I hit it out here, even in a home run situation, if I hit it out, the guy behind me then is in a position where, you know, he's not comfortable base hitting. So I'm going to go ahead and take the base hit, and, you know, and again, I might make an out here, but that's, you know, sometimes it's better to make an out, and then the next guy hits it out. Where if I hit a home run and then he comes up and hits a home run behind me, now at the end of the game, we're in trouble. So, you know, it's tough because, you know, sponsors start looking at, you know, I've dealt with sponsors that pull up your U-Trip page and they look at, well, this guy hit this many home runs, you know, and it's like, well, when did he hit those home runs? Was it in the loser's bracket because they lost first game because they're out of home runs in 2 innings?
Sure.
You know, did they play the top teams, you know, stuff like that. So unfortunately, a lot of the sponsors base things off of stats, but you don't get a real good picture unless you play with a guy or see a guy play and on a regular basis and see what their mindset is. So
I think that's interesting because they are selling a product, whereas I don't even think about that angle. I'm like, to me, when I see somebody that's, you know, that's as accomplished, you know, as far as like you and the other guys that are out there on that level, it's like, dude, mad respect when those dudes can hit it in the gap. They don't have to do that ever. It's a whole different level of appreciation for your abilities. We all know you can hit it long, but can you in a situation come through for that team, man? To me, that's like, I would be in the stands and I'd be like, that's badass that dude can do that, you know?
I'll be honest with you, you know, a couple times in the show we've talked about, you know, farthest home run, things like that. See, I take more pride in the fact that I've hit balls between the first baseman and the back, you know, as a righty going backside where I can work a ball between the first baseman and the line, you know, that to me, if you can do that, you can hit. And guys, you know, guys will get up there and say, you know, we played league at BLD for years and, you know, balls over the net, you know, the whole thing was, oh, if you don't hit the ball over the net, it doesn't count kind of thing, you know. But to me, it's like if I can catch a first baseman standing over there with his legs crossed because there's no way I'm hitting it over here, you know, I take more pride in that stuff. So
yeah, I think that's cool, man. I know Andy. What's going on, Andy? Thanks for supporting us again, brother. He says, "Morning, gentlemen." You know he works shift work. Jeff says, "Spot on. Home run management trumps numbers." And Jeff also says, Code taught me that. First inning runners on second and third with no outs. That is not a home run situation, even though it is a 3-run bomb. Absolutely.
And there's some guys that you can play with them for 10 years and you'll never convince them that that's the right choice to make.
Yeah. Well, you may not be able to convince them, but if you're the coach like we are, we can convince them. You're not getting sponsored here, man. This is this is all team or, individuals, just not room for that. So we got, let me ask you this. So you still live in Vegas, correct?
Henderson, but yeah.
Oh, Henderson? Okay,
Vegas Valley, Henderson.
Yeah. So I thought it was interesting, man. I did a little research. Have you ever been cut by a team? And you said yes. And you said that, and you don't have to expand on it if you don't want to, but you said it was the best thing that happened to me. I didn't have to continue to be a part of that show, is what I'll say.
It's
who thinks that Denny Crine got freaking cut from a team, man? You wouldn't think that, but it was cool that your comment was, I don't want to be a part of that. And that just shows your character,
softball, I have this discussion with a lot of people. Softball, and I'm sure you guys will totally understand this, because softball is such an eclectic sport as far as the people that you end up sitting in the dugout next to. You guys as law enforcement, I mean, I'm sure you've sat in a dugout next to a guy who was a convicted felon, and it just, in good ways, it brings people together that I have so many good friends from throughout the country that I never would have met, without playing softball. And then it also brings you the other way, where, I mean, sometimes you play with some of the biggest scumbags you've ever met. And, sometimes, it was a situation where I was on a team and the guys on the team, I had no problem with a lot of the guys on the team, but the guys running the team, it's sometimes it's not worth dealing with. I'd rather spend time with my kids than to deal with something like that on the weekend. So.
Absolutely. And I think that, Joe, I think that's something that we've heard throughout our softball circuit is, again, going back to, dude, I don't even really want to go back to that circuit of ball. Like, once you get into this law enforcement circuit, it's just one of those environments where you don't have to worry about being out in the parking lot with your family. People aren't cussing and disrespecting families, things of that sort. And you don't have no problem taking your wife and your children. My children, we just had a show where we brought our families on board to talk about what law enforcement softball means to them. And I'm telling you, my kids will ask me, are we going with SA Law? And I say, no. Okay, well, how long is the tournament going to last? If they found out it's an SA Law tournament or a law enforcement tournament, they're all in. Mm-hmm. And so I just think that that's really neat when your family feels like that. Just shows you, what that circuit means.
Another thing, like Denny said, where he's made so many friends across the country. Same thing with the police circuit. After you've been in it for long enough and you travel enough and you meet all these teams and all the guys on the teams, it's like one big family. You start meeting, you got friends everywhere, and it's hard to step away from that, and go back, like Trini said, go back to play civvy ball or something like that. But yeah, it's a good experience, to be able to meet all these people from around the country that have something similar to you, go through the similar experience, even though they're from different cities, different states. They're going through the same things you're going through where you're working. You know what I mean? You got something in common with them.
Yeah, and that's definitely something I don't get to experience because, when I go, I might see a teacher here and there or play with a teacher here and there, but you guys, when you play that circuit, it's 100% a brotherhood that you guys all share a common interest, and it's not, as far as like the civilian ball, it's whereas we're very eclectic and people all over the place, you guys are, you guys all have a common denominator, and that's got to be a great experience.
Yeah.
I've got just so you know, Danny, I'm going to invite you before Joe does. I got a guy who's near San Antonio. What are you laughing about, Joe?
I just can't wait to hear what you got here, man.
So I got a guy who plays on our team in a town near called Crystal City. that's near it's kind of close to San Antonio, but we can deputize you, bro, and you can start playing in our circuit. You can you can carry a badge and you're good.
Well,
I mean, I don't even know if you need training. I think
my
you just talk to Jay. I think you're good.
my father-in-law lives in Bernie, so it's we just hung out for a week out there for Thanksgiving this last Thanksgiving. So
Yeah.
that's
Well,
I'll come out and play some league night.
I know some people in Bernie. Maybe we can make it happen. That's where we have our Texas Showdown, which we might have. We actually might have our tournament at the on the last day of the conference, the 12th, April 12th through the 14th of 2021. We're going to have this International First Responders Conference. It's a Keepers of the Peace First Responders Conference, and we're talking about having our softball tournament on the 15th and 16th that coincides with that. Be cool to have you out, man. If you happen to be in town, I think that'd be really neat to have you come out, mix and mingle. It's near home, so you can visit. And then who knows, man? We might have you, you and Joe go head to head. But be warned, you better get your work in. Get Chad and those, get those dudes to come help you out.
Do the 10,000 swing challenge.
Hey, so real quickly, we're gonna highlight the bat, the Nautalai, 2021 Nautalai. It's your bat, your signature series bat. If you, I got a little something for you. If you can guess what makes Denny Crine nervous in a game, if you can guess what makes Denny Crine nervous in a game, it's not Joe Monahan pitching either. I got a little something special for you. So, Denny, the only thing you need to know is if you come play on my team, number 41 is my number. Sorry, man. I mean, I'll try to work something out for you, but Joe, can you guess why 41 is so important to Denny?
Why 41 is so important? I'm not sure.
It's his college number.
What was it?
It's his college number. That's the one that he likes to wear.
There's some importance there, I'm sure.
Did you know that this dude played in the major leagues until he was not major. Okay. Okay. So tell me what it was before an injury. Because you played didn't you? What did you play? Did you play college ball? What did you play before, Denny?
I played 2 years of JUCO ball in California, and then I signed out of there with the White Sox and played. Got cut out of my third spring training. So,
well, I think that when you talk about what I freaked out about when I found out about anybody who gets beyond high school is the percentages of people who start in Little League and go all the way up. That's why when you go to a pro game, you see these dudes. I don't know if everyone realizes what you're looking at. I mean, the amount of kids that start from T-ball all the way through the ranks, man, it just blows me away. I don't remember what the exact percentages were, but I think that's just crazy. Whatever I wish I don't know if we can look that up or not, Deanna or Carly.
Well, just the percentages just go down and down and down as you're going through. So it's an impressive statistic, though.
Yeah.
What position did you play, Denny?
I was a pitcher.
I was going to guess that, but I didn't want to say it and be wrong. So,
yeah, I was a pitcher who always wanted to hit, but it's after my freshman year in college, they said, "Nah, I think you'll be good over here starting for us instead of playing first." So,
let's talk about For the Fallen. I know at one point, I know with Chad and those guys, I mean that's huge to me. So you played. If I'm not mistaken, again, I like I told you, I'm not an ESPN type dude. I mean, I did what I could. But you played for the Fallen, if not in their forming years. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think they first put a team together and I can't remember the years, but they put a team together for Toys for Tots, and then I joined them that year for the full season, and then I think 3-4 years I played with them, and we still do Toys for Tots, and Greg and Jamie, obviously when we were doing the tournaments, initially when we first did the tournaments, they were honoring, local families, that whether soldier had been injured in action or, unfortunately, died while serving the country, you know, and they would do flag ceremonies before at the start of each tournament. And to me, that was just, you know, unbelievable as far as being able to be a part of that. You know, obviously I went the college baseball route and then professional baseball and didn't serve in the military. So being able to thank people that did, you know, and playing with the guys where, you know, most of the time we were about half our team. It caused some problems early on because about half our team was active duty. So, you know, they would get called to go somewhere and we would be short a guy and having to pick guys up. So, you know, that's kind of the tough thing about military softball and that. But, you know, just being able to travel around the country. And then after that, I got hooked up with the Wounded Warriors. And, you know, Mario Foster does a lot with them. You know, he does the police ball circuit too. And Mario, you know, has stepped in for Easton and does a lot with the Wounded Warriors now. But for a few years there, I got to travel around and help coach and kind of, you know, to me, that stuff, you know, a lot of us, we take for granted standing on two legs, swinging a bat. And for me, being able, you know, we spent a week down at the Detroit Tigers spring training site, and, you know, we spent 3-4 days in the cages, and you're talking to people who have above knee amputations, and you're trying to figure out where do you get power from? You know, how do you get power? How do you stay standing after you swing? You know, or, you know, obviously above knee, below knee makes a huge difference in functionality of swinging a bat and playing the field. And to me, I love getting into the thought process of, okay, how do we do this? You know, and so just, it was an honor being able to spend time with those guys and, you know, they're a bunch of fun guys and, you know, they've been dealt a shit hand in life, you know, wrong place, wrong time. And they're saying, I'm
adapt
over
and
it. Let's
overcome.
go. Yeah,
Adapt and
roll.
overcome. And
You know,
there was a video of you with someone, and I don't know if we have it, but you were with one of our veterans that lost his arm, or I believe from his elbow down, and you were there with him, and he had a glove on with your name on it, and he was, you know, they were doing a show on you and him, and mainly him, but you were with him, and he was just talking about how, hey man, back to basics, you know, see the ball, see it into your glove, and I just, man, that's. Shout out to all our military, of course. It doesn't matter that I was in there. I mean, we're talking anyone that's ever raised their right arm and sworn, you know, to our country to go and defend it, man. We really appreciate you guys. So thank you for what you do with that, Denny, and all the guys that are out there, you know, Wounded Warriors, For the Fallen, all of them.
Yeah. And they do, you know, obviously they go around and play softball, which for them is definitely, it helps. But the thing they do a great job with is work with the kids, and they have a kids camp, you know, and, you know, when you're 8 years old and, you know, you had an amputation and you're thinking, you know, I can't play sports, or I can't do that. And then you watch these guys run around, dive, and you know, it's incredible, you know. And we went to, a couple years ago, we went to Sacramento and visited Children's Hospital there. And, you know, I have a hard time with that stuff. I'm very emotional with that stuff. And those guys, you know, when I go into situations like that with them, you know, I'm not the show, you know, they're there to promote their, you know, their cause. And so I just I'm a fly on the wall and I get to experience what they're doing. And, you know, between For the Fallen, between Wounded Warriors, and obviously there's a bunch of great other organizations out there. You know, I'm just lucky to be a part of it and be able to contribute where I can. So,
yeah. It takes you going out and giving your time too, and so we appreciate that, man. Hey, Stu Donaldson says that the PS.com circuit immediately accepts you regardless of skill levels. No one forgets the first PS tourney. He also says, does the senior Nautalai swing like the U-Trip version? And just a quick shout out to Stu. Stu works heavily with the mental health side of things in law enforcement. And Stu, we really do appreciate, your service and what you do for everyone out there when it comes to that mental health aspect of things. So what do you say, Denny? Is it swing like the U-Trip version?
Yeah, so the way our senior bats are set up is, and I really like how it's set up now as far as we have the Nautalai, which is the continuous fiber technology that they're using, and we have a balanced version, a mid-load version, and an end-load version. My bat would be the end-load version, so that's going to be like Dale's bat. So any of the Nautalais with the heavy end load on the U-Trip end, that's going to be, your swing feel. It's got the alloy handle. So I know I've swung some of the products that DeMarini had in the past that were senior, and they kind of felt soft on the barrel, a little bit flexy. But with this changeover to the alloy barrel or the alloy handle, sorry if I said it wrong before, but the alloy handle, and the Nautalai barrels, it's unbelievable response, unbelievable feel. So it's, as far as the U-Trip bats and the senior bats, they're going to have the same swing weight, the same feel to them as far as the stiffness. Obviously, senior bats are going to be hotter though.
Yeah.
Well, and Joe, real quickly, as I was doing research before we came on, I looked on quite a few reviews, and all of them say that this thing doesn't take long at all, and this thing is hot. And we're talking about people who do reviews that aren't sponsored by a manufacturer. They're out there, and they're sincerely giving you their honest opinion, and they don't care about. My hat's always jacked, man. It's because it's not a DeMarini hat. I need to get one. But they're really giving you a serious review, and all of them are saying that this bat is freaking hot. There is something to what they're talking about, a certain mile per hour swing, which I never get into that much, Joe, and I don't know if you even get into it as much. I never have, but they're like something around like I don't know, like 80, 85 mile an hour swing or something like that. They're like, hey, if you've got a stronger swing, the fact that it's more reactive and more responsive right out the wrapper, your swings, it could I don't know what the right terminology, I don't know about crack or whatever, but it could have the lifespan might not be as good, but they also said it depends on how you break it in also. So back to Denny's point, as far as how you swing this thing, I think he even made a point. We cut it out because we needed the time. But Denny, you even talked about like maybe hitting it with a softer softball maybe.
Yeah, I use on U-Trip bats and senior bats. I've been doing that for probably the last 8-9 years where, a lot of guys, they go out and hit BP and they need to see how far it goes. I have some things I work on in BP. I love to see the ball fly, but I also think that if I can see a softer ball fly, that I know, my confidence level with that once I get to a hard ball. But it just allows the bat to flex a little bit more. Instead of you take a stiff bat and a hard ball, and it's just going to break down the fibers of the barrel faster. So I want the walls to kind of start independently moving a little bit slower. And, again, you got to put your ego to the side and say, I'm going to hit these softer balls. It's going to break in my bat slower, but I'm going to get longer, life out of it as far as, especially the senior bat. I mean, there's such a fine line between, you got to figure out, okay, I want it hot out of the wrapper, but I don't want it to break right away, and if it's stiff out of the wrapper, yeah, it'll last longer, but then guys don't want to put in the work to VP. I always liked the bat that was a little stiffer as long as it was going to, you get some bats that are stiff and they never break in. If I can find a bat that's stiff in the beginning and I could put 500 swings on it, but it's going to last me 2,000 swings, that's an ideal bat for me. But the market isn't always like that because guys want to go to the store or get their shipment in and they want to walk right out and hit 500-foot bombs. And and then they complain when the bat breaks. It's like, well, you kind of, if it's coming out hot, you're not going to get that longevity. So
I'll have that bat for about 10 years then.
Yeah.
Because I got a slow swing. I'm 301? About 301 on a good day. What do you got, Joe?
What do I got? I got, so as far as the as far as you saying a lot of people want it hot right out of the wrapper, and you like the stiffer bat. A lot of people aren't like you, where you're sick. Well, I don't know what you are, 6'10" and 350 pounds, and you could probably swing a tree branch and hit one about 450 foot. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Stu said, I think I swing hard, and my Nautalai has 900 to 1,000 swings from just BP, even though I was told it wouldn't last 300 because it's hot. That's cool, man. I'm glad that you chimed up about that, Stu, because I'm getting one anyway. And Denny, we're getting it tonight, but I'm gonna have it sent. I'd like to have it signed. It'd be cool because I have the one from Dale. I think I have it on there. Do we have a picture of that one? I think we do, right? It'd be cool to have them side by side, two DeMarinis. Yeah. There we go. That's my signature series bat there. It's pretty cool. Wes, thank you so much for hooking me up with that one, man. I appreciate you, brother. Yeah, that's pretty neat. So anyway, Denny, I'd like to be able to send one to you, get it signed. It'd be pretty neat to be able to start a little collection.
I might have one around here that I could send you. So
yeah, that'll work, man. We'll go to the site.
We can skip the sending it here process. So.
All right. Yeah, man. I appreciate that, man. And Jeff says about the comment before about deputizing. He says, it has happened before. Florida lawmen had a small agency deputize Bruce Meade, who was the Denny Crine of his era. He only played for the team, didn't actually do police work. We amended our rules to exclude reserves and part-time police officers, specifically to prevent the Bruce Meades of the world. Well, Jeff, I want you to know I was just kidding. I want to make sure you know that.
I'm going to have to Jeff might need to check into this, though, because 3 years ago, Bruce came down and helped the USA team. And I want to say that he's a legitimate police officer and maybe even still is. So Jeff might need to give him a call and check up on that. Because
fact check. Jeff needs to start fact checking here.
What I did hear, though, is there was some Florida guys that worked at the jail, and I heard there was some shady stuff down there with some of the, those Florida softball guys. They're kind of, you got to keep an eye on them.
There's been a few occurrences similar to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I know we're pushing up on an hour and a half, so we're going to finish it up here for the next 6 minutes. Say G and H going to be rocking my 2015 Mike and Triad 3 still. Bat lasts me 5+ years. Andy. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm excited, man, because everything I've heard about this bat has been just, it's hot. And I've seen some people taking some good BP with it, and you could see a genuine reaction. So I'm excited, man, especially like, you're talking about, you put your name on something, you want it to perform, and it was cool that, you're standing behind it. These people who are independent of any manufacturer reviews are standing behind it. Yeah. So I just think I think it's really neat, and I'm excited. I've like I said, I've never played. I think I played maybe 3 games, something like that. Seniors, I think it was like 3, but I didn't really even play that much. So this is my first experience at it, and I'm excited to be able to get into it, man. So you haven't had any. Have you played seniors? I mean,
yeah, I've been playing over 40 for the last 5 years now, 6 years now.
Is that seniors over 40?
It is.
Oh, dude, I thought it'd be like over 50 or something.
Well,
it's like juniors.
Level.
The SoCal circuit, Vegas. It's I don't know about the rest of the country. I don't think you can play as much of the 40 circuit. But down here. And to be honest with you, it's a situation where there's a bunch of us that played conference that hit 40, and we're kind of being on the West Coast and playing conference softball is stupid. it the one year I flew 75,000 miles. And if you're not flying a red eye, which when I hit 35, my body said, you're not flying the red eye anymore. There's no way you can fly the red eye and then on Friday night go play a game after you flew all night and slept for a couple hours in the morning. It's unfortunate that they haven't figured out how to be inclusive of the West Coast, because there's such great softball on the West Coast. And in order to do it, you have to take a ton of days off of work, and you have the sponsors, the sponsors are spending 25,000 plus just to get a shot at qualifying for Disney, or not Disney anymore, but for the U-Trip Major, and it's so a lot of the 40 circuit here is conference guys that are just done with the travel, but they still want to do, their thing as far as, and it's competitive softball, and the rules in senior softball, with the run restrictions and things like that, make it a very competitive game, no matter how stacked you are. We've had, over the last 6 years, I've played on some of the best, most talented softball 40-year-old teams ever, but yet every game was competitive because of the rules and so it's fun. And it's all the guys that I grew up playing softball with now, because we're all the same age, and so it's a great time.
One thing I've heard about that is that, everybody's past the whole machismo kind of thing. They're all past that pride kind of thing. As far as
I'm gonna say no on that. There's still,
really?
if you had an attitude when you were playing young kids ball, you're still the same person inside. It's
a lot of people are the same, no matter how old.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And some people get even worse. They just get angrier, or they get more ornery, and I think it's in the maybe the later stages, the 55s, the 60s, maybe everybody calms down. But even when my dad plays 65s, and he's still talking about this guy or that guy doing this or that. So it's
Trini. Haven't you ever heard of Benji?
Oh well, I mean, yes.
Hey,
my bad. I guess maybe that's what I had heard, and I like to believe, but oh my Lord. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. I love having him on the show. We're going to have a Stir in the Pot episode, and he's going to be one of them. So it's going to be an interesting episode. I'm going to let Joe host that one.
Great.
I'm not good at that stuff. Joe said he'll help stir the pot. Lou Velasquez, what's going on, brother? Lou, I think was Lou a part of y'all's home run derby deal one time at the World Series? I think it was Lou and somebody else, but I'm not sure. Denny, if you guys were there, you and Brett were there during that year. But Lou says, seniors, I'm ready, 2021. And you can hit a ball.
You can actually start playing 40s when you're 39, and as long as you turn 40 in the calendar year or whatever year you're starting, so you can actually start pretty early. So
yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, for those of you that were wondering, because we did have Andy was talking about, he was thinking that your biggest fear was, let's see, what did Andy said? Andy said the K looking with 2 strikes. That's what he was wondering.
Go backwards K.
Nah.
But what makes Denny nervous in a game, or at least at the time of this interview? Lightning. He says
I don't do lightning.
Who in the hell's out there with lightning going on? That's what I need to know. Jeez, must have been...
Every time I play in Florida, you're seeing flash and bang at the same time, and these guys are like, no, I still got to hit my round of BP. I'm like, I'm out of here. You guys pick up your own bus.
He's the tallest thing on the field, man.
Nah, I don't get it. People who aren't afraid of lightning, or something wrong with them.
I don't know if we have that video anymore, but if we do, we'll show it. But Lou said it was him and Helmer. Yeah, it was you and Brett out there. So, man, how long have you guys been at it together?
Helmer?
Yeah.
2002 is when I first started playing, and then we've battled against each other, played some tournaments together. It's it's Helmer's a great guy, and even though I was with another manufacturer, he got me involved with the Police World Series, and I respect him for that. He was doing things, obviously, that might have cut into his promotions, but he was looking out for you guys as far as putting out a better product and, having, choices rather than just kind of shoving stuff down people's throats. Obviously the best way to go about it is, to have a choice. And I think it's a great thing that you guys do. Unfortunately, the reasons behind doing the bat provided, but I think it takes one element of complaint out of the games when everybody's on the same playing field, because that's unfortunately softball turned into a bitch fest about this guy's bat's cut and that. And I was actually there the night that Jeff Blair walked over to Brett with a bat and pulled the cap out of it and said, "Is this normal?" And it happened to be one of the products that I was working with, and the black tarry substance that came out with it was that's not how it's made. So it's interesting.
Along the same lines as Trini said earlier, with thanking you for everything you did with For the Fallen and Wounded Warriors. I appreciate everything you've done support wise with the police circuit, man. I appreciate you and Brett.
Yeah. I'm honored just to be, I'm honored to be on the show. I'm honored to be a part of it, and that's, to me, that's not doing work. That's that's trying to give back. And I know the way the world is right now, you guys are, not the most popular people in some, but in all reality, it's those very few that are vocal, and the rest of us, we appreciate, and I want to give back as much as I can whenever I can. So.
Well, we appreciate that, man, and thank you so much for spending your time with us tonight. I will say that we all are hoping that Vegas happens, but if it doesn't, hopefully we'll see you guys out here again. And even if you're not swinging, which I'm sure you would come out, and it'd be it's such a great treat for us. I mean, I don't get to see it in live, because I don't really go out as much. So in Vegas, I mean, that's a highlight for us, to be able to see you guys launch them, and guys like Lou and everybody else that's involved in that home run derby. It's really neat to be able to see that unity, because you guys coming out from such a high status in the game we all love and showing that you're there. We all know that you're there in your hearts for us, not just you're like a manufacturer trying to show it. It's not. And I know that the feeling I get is what I know a lot of people are like, man, that's cool as shit that these dudes are here, showing that they care about us. And it means a lot when we're jumping fences in the middle of the night, turning that corner with a dude that we know has a gun, and we're about to make that corner. It means a lot when somebody says, we appreciate your service. That's what gives us that extra oomph to be able to say, man, I'm going to go out for the betterment of my community. I'm not letting this dude get away. I don't want him to hurt anyone else. It's in our downtime when we see things like this that really make us feel like, this is cool, man. This is neat. And I take it as an appreciation for those times, along with all the other things that we see out there. So I know that, Joe, you feel the same, and I've heard it from a lot of people. So, thank you guys again for what you do. We'll talk about, let's show that Nautalai one more time, please. And where can we go to get him? Obviously, the DeMarini website.
DeMarini website, and, any of the, I work a lot with All-American Athletics, but any of the DeMarini dealers throughout the country, have these available and online with a bunch of the sites. So it's it's a great company, and I'm glad to be here. So
yeah, man. Well, hopefully we catch up with you. If again, we're hoping Vegas happens, but if not, who knows, man? You might be in Bernie when it comes down to April. And like I said, man, it'd be a really neat thing. Everybody's talking about coming in to the Texas Showdown there in Bernie for
Yeah.
our conference, and it would be really neat if it allows you to happen. Hey, and Denny, just so you know, I don't know if I know you don't have a lot of free time, but if you do, you might want to go to my YouTube channel because we got this really cool gun. Check this out. It's called a Chris Vector. And if you go to our website or to our YouTube channel and you subscribe to which by the way, Denny, I subscribe to your channel. So I'm following you now. If you go to this YouTube channel, subscribe, leave a rating or a review, man. You know, I'm a retired policeman who is just doing this for the betterment of our community in law enforcement softball. You know, don't monetize it. We haven't done anything like that. This is just from our heart. And so if you can please leave a review, a rating, Apple, Spotify, you know, those types of things, man. It'd be really cool to be able to just show your support and allow us to continue to do this. And who knows, one day, man, we'll be able to make something happen. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, man.
There you go.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Joe, I'll give you the word with Denny.
Like I said, and like Trini said, we just appreciate you coming on, taking the time out of your day. I know you're busy, and obviously you're you know, like you said, you're going through training yourself, trying to figure out how to teach online, and you know, teaching in itself is tough. You know, I've coached kids different ages throughout the years, and in basketball and swimming, and it's I commend you for what you do, my man. And thanks for taking the time out and coming on with us today.
Yeah, thank you. This is actually good practice for my for Monday morning when I got to get on and do the same thing with my kids. So it's good practice for me.
All right, bud.
All right, man. We appreciate you, Denny. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Sounds
All
good.
Man.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Hey, Joe, I think that was a really neat thing to be able to you know, to have somebody that, you know, in all these years of ball, man, I got to talk to him that one time and had a great feeling from the dude. Never felt any type of, you know, status kind of thing. I mean, he's always looking down, but he's not looking down at us. He's just looking down because he's freaking tall. But it never made me feel like that. And again, you know, I think it really does make us feel great as a circuit to have dudes like that come out and share their time with us.
No doubt.
Yeah, man. Hey, Joe, thank you for what you're doing, you know, day in and day out, you know, with your service and for all the dudes out in your department. And thank you for spending the time with us tonight. I don't take that for granted. None of us do. We appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, Trini.
Yeah, man. So, hey, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate that from Texarkana. Again, dropping my little girl off at college. We're going to see how I'm going to handle it. But you guys helped me to get my mind off of that a little bit tonight. But as soon as we get done, I probably won't go to sleep tonight till probably 3 a.m. I'll have to watch The Office or something. But hey, just want to hey, Rick, what's going on, man? Rick joined us at the last second. Rick Torelli, that's what I'm talking about, brother. Nice to hear from you, man. Hey, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget about our International Keepers of the Peace First Responders Conference, again, April the 12th through the 14th. I say this because our ultimate goal is to save some lives. You know, we need to be able to help ourselves out. We spend so much time helping so many people. It's part of what, you know, we love, but we sometimes don't work so much on helping ourselves. And this conference is really going to help us to be able to handle some of those stressors that come with life. For those of you that don't know, you know, listening to people like Les Brown, Alan Watts, you know, these people helped me in my times of dealing with cancer and with some of these situations that if it were not for these outside influences, yeah, it might have taken a toll on me, my wife, or my family. And so listening to these people, having a different perspective, it's what this conference is all about. Ultimate goal is saving some of these first responders' lives. And we can do that together. I promise you, you will not, if you come to this conference, you will not leave the same way you walked in. I promise you that. Or like I said, man, get your money back. No questions asked. So thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. Let's see here. What have we got? Rick Torelli saying, God bless my softball brothers and their families. And Shane says, good chat, Trini, Joe, and DC41. Solid week, boys. Yeah, man. Thank you guys. Hey, this is Trinidad signing off, and please don't forget I got your 6.